Good. I'm liking it. And I wanted to start off actually with your team, Tottenham, George, with the news today
Of
that
course.
Harry Kane does not want to sign a new deal and wants to leave Tottenham. Of course, Bayern Munich leading that race as of right now. Now that he's saying he won't sign that new deal, is it getting to a point where you maybe should just cash in on him now, get 100 million and reinvest, or would you keep him against his will and not respect the sort of the request of your greatest ever player?
As some rival fans may say, we've imprisoned him for long enough. I think it's about that time that we let go of him. It's the time that, look, he's come out and he's finally said, I'm not going to sign a new contract. He did say it in a sort of a blasé way where he said, look, if I stay and then it looks good after summer, then I might sign a new contract. But at this moment in time, I want to leave, which is fine. We respect that. At the end of the day, the way I see it is his time is come to an end. Maybe he can come back to Tottenham in a few years, but Bayern need to pay the money. That's what this all comes down to. Because at the end of the day, I feel like Bayern are faffing around. They're coming out here saying, "Look, we want Kane," but they're not putting the bids in. And right now, it seems like a play of who's gonna give up. Who's going to give up first? Are Tottenham going to give up when Kane puts the pressure on, or Bayern going to give up and not pay the money that we want? I think it's going to be Bayern in the end. I think they're going to end up paying the money that we want. But yeah, man, look, it's time for Kane to go. I don't really feel no bad ways towards him. It is what it is. He's been a great service to our club. He's been a great club captain for when he's filled in for Hugo Lloris. And you've got to respect his wishes. He's been at the club for long enough. And for me, the best thing about it is he's not going to be playing in England. The only thing that we were worried about probably about 6 or 7 months ago was Harry Kane's going to Man United. And I was pretty dead on the fact that if he leaves Tottenham, he's going Man United. That's the only club he'd go to. So the fact that Bayern's come in, he's going to be out of the Premier League. He's going to be over abroad. I can't really complain. If we get the money in, we're going to have to go spend it on a new striker and potentially try fill out and see how that works. Not something I'm looking forward to, but I think it's that time, man. We have to let go of him. He wants to go. Is what it is.
I actually agree with him. I think it's best for both parties. Bayern Munich get their player, and Tottenham get to move on. And I think this has been a long time coming. I think the worst case scenario for Tottenham is if he leaves on a free. Best case scenario for Harry Kane, because he has all the choices in the world. Every club is going to be bidding for him, and he's going to get his future secured with a big pay rise. But right now, I don't know if Bayern Munich are going to actually pay the valuation you want, though. They're going to push you guys until the very end of the transfer window, even though I agree with you that it's probably the best move for him to leave this window and go to Bayern for both parties. I don't think Tottenham are going to agree a fee. I think Tottenham are going to wait until the final day of the window to see what Bayern Munich are willing to go, what levels they're willing to go to, and this might be Man City 2.0.
That's what I was going to say. Is Levy easy? Like, from what we know, anyway, obviously you'll be able to tell us better. Levy seems like a difficult person to kind of do negotiations with. So, Gal said it there. I just don't see a situation where, that fee is going to be agreed, and then it's going to then create a whole new kind of narrative around, Harry Kane and Daniel Levy kind of thing. I don't know who it's going to fall on, but then that goes into the season, and you've got a new manager where you're trying to implement new ideas, new things. So how does that even help your season when for the second year in a row, this guy doesn't want to be here? Like, how does that help the team, move forward? I don't get that.
The only thing is I would say against that is I think we learned from the Gareth Bale saga when we sold Gareth Bale on the last day to Real Madrid. Although we'd signed everyone and sort of spent the money we were bringing in for him already. I see Tottenham learning from that. I see us not taking it all the way down to the window, not dragging it out, because they know that if we do sell him on the last day, we're going to be scrapping around to find a striker. And any team we go to, they're going to want an extra 20, 30 million off us, knowing that we've got big money just coming for Kane and we're desperate. Mm-hmm. So I don't see that happening. I know that Tottenham and Bayern Munich, Daniel Levy's met with their... Remember when the CEO come out just last week talking about how the talks are going? I know that we've been meeting up. Tottenham, and these talks have been going on for a long while, and they are trying to find a resolution. Bayern seems serious, but I don't think that it's going to be a problem to the point that it will get a deadline. And if they don't sign him, let's say, I'd probably say first game of the season, I think it's going to be done. He won't go. He will stay at Tottenham. And Daniel Levy and Tottenham, I feel like the board are going to be pretty confident that if he does stay, they'll be able to convince him to sign a new contract. Because I'm not being funny, the only thing that's like preventing Harry Kane from signing a new contract is not winning trophies at Tottenham. He can't see a future winning trophies at Tottenham with this current team. Unless Ange can make a big, huge change throughout this season, then he doesn't want to sign the contract to make that happen, which is fair enough. But the money he's going to be offered, it's going to be far too lucrative for him to even turn down, I think, the Tottenham contract. We're looking at offering him 400k a week. I know there's other teams in Europe that are going to offer big money, but Bayern's not going to offer him a 5-year 400k a week deal. Barcelona's not. PSG most definitely not. So the money that he's going to get at Tottenham's, on top of the fact that he wants to secure his legacy in the Premier League, it will be an attractive offer. But at this moment in time, I do think that he will leave if it gets to a certain stage. As I say, that Bayern, the parties meet and Bayern meet our price, we'll happily let him go. But they're not going to play us around. I don't see Bayern coming to play us around and then we're going to end up with the short end of the stick. They're not going to fuck us around. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think there'll be a happy medium on this deal in the end. I mean, I'm hoping that Man United pull something out the bag and come in late. That's not based on anything in the market. I really want Harry Kane. I think if he doesn't sign for us now, that's it forever. And there's been a handful of players in my lifetime who we never got, that I was so desperate for Man United to sign. Paul Gascoigne, Alan Shearer, Harry Kane's another, where Wesley Sneijder. There's certain players that we're just linked to for such a long time, and for one reason or another, it never quite happened. And I'm hoping there's, we sell some players, we raise some money, and we can kind of come in. But I do get the feeling that Levy just wants to get him out of the Premier League. At least then, listen, Spurs are never going to compete with Bayern Munich on a European level, so it stops the deal from ever hurting Spurs. Him wearing a Man United shirt will hurt a little less, but if he ever ends up, that's why I think you guys should do it. If he ends up next summer in a Chelsea shirt, or even worse than that, and never say never, if he ends up in an Arsenal shirt in a year's time, you never know how everyone shakes their head, but we have seen these madnesses in football before. We've seen people go across certain divides and cause problems. We've seen it in Scotland. We've seen it in Turkey. We've seen it in Spain. We've seen it in England before. We have seen it. We've seen literally one of the most famous free transfers ever. If you just said to Spurs fans a year before it happened, Sol Campbell will join Arsenal, it would have got the same reaction. Absolutely no chance. And that man walked across to the Red Half of North London. So I do think you've got to do this just to guarantee nothing crazy goes on. But it'll also be a shame to lose him from the Premier League. But listen, Harry Kane has been a thorn in all of our sides, all of us. So for him to leave, there's a silver lining in it for everybody if he's not in the Premier League, probably barring Champions League nights, of course. So yeah, I hope it happens, and I hope he leaves Tottenham soon, like for him and for everybody else, really, because he's got to go and win them trophies now. Like Harry Kane, I know you said behind the scenes you don't think. So I don't want the viewers to know. You kind of said behind the scenes you don't think Bayern Munich will do that much for Harry Kane's legacy, George.
No, I don't. I generally don't. For me, him going to Bayern Munich does not secure his legacy. We've looked at Lewandowski get laughed at for years and years and years. He was laughed at. All the goals he used to score in the Bundesliga, people used to laugh at it. They used to brush it off. When he done 46 goals in the league season in 37 games, something, people just laughed at it. They're like, it's the Bundesliga. No one cares. And it's going to be the same way. If he goes over there, he's going to win a league title. That's guaranteed. He's probably going to win the DFB Pokal, whatever it's called. That's guaranteed. No one cares. Unless he goes there and brings home a European title, he's going to go and win the Champions League for Bayern. Then he secures his legacy as one of England's greatest ever strikers. He'll go down as it. He's got a Champions League to his name. Not many people can talk like that. But until he does that, him winning a few leagues with Bayern does absolutely nothing for him. And for me, it's just a stopgap in his career. He's literally just going over there to have 2 years away from Tottenham. And then after 2 years, he's going to come back to the Premier League, whether it's Tottenham or another team, to try really secure his legacy again and get that Premier League #1 goal scorer. That's what he's here for. That is literally, and we all know Harry Kane's aiming for that title. And so whether he likes it or not, until he goes and wins a trophy and then comes back and wins that title, he's not going to do much for himself. So he needs to either win a European title, or he needs to do something in the Premier League for him to be relevant. Because even if he went to Barcelona, Real Madrid, and won a La Liga, no one's going to care, because you're going to the best team in let me not say a poor league, but a league that isn't as competitive as the Premier League, and you're just winning the titles that you're expected to do.
Yeah, as much as I think as much as I think Kane should leave, I'm just a bit for his sake, and obviously like just watching the game in that year, like I'm a bit annoyed that Real Madrid aren't really pushing for him because I think their plan long term is to get an Mbappe because Jules, like you said, you know, Harry Kane's one of the best strikers that we've seen in the Prem. I know he hasn't got anything to show for it in terms of like any trophies, right? But when you're just talking about the strikers that we've seen in this league, he's up there. Do you know what I mean? In terms of ability, in terms of goal scoring, everything, he's got it all, right? So yeah, it is a bit annoying that it's Bayern that are coming in because I feel like he's not going to get the respect that he deserves. You know what I mean? If he wins those trophies over there, the only thing really he can win is the Champions League. At least with La Liga, that league holds a bit of weight. Do you know what I'm saying? And the trophies in that league hold a bit of weight as well. So yeah, I mean, he should move on. Bayern, there's a chance of winning Champions League there, but for him, I would be a bit annoyed that Real Madrid ain't coming calling because I think that would be a better move than going to Bayern. In all honesty, obviously, I don't want to see him at United because I think if he goes to them, that's them competing straight away. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think it's just a bit annoying Real Madrid ain't coming in for him.
Listen, anywhere he goes, let me just say something. Anywhere he goes, Jordan, I don't know if this is my first time working with you, so I don't want to come off like, you know, aggressive at what you just said. But anywhere he goes, he'll get more respect anyways. I understand what you were trying to do here. Listen, you're a Spurs fan, so I understand that at the end of the day, you'll do and say anything for him to stay at Spurs, okay? Saying he won't get the respect he deserves at Bayern, he won't get the respect he deserves at La Liga. Listen, bro, if I were I'll tell you something. You're gonna get criticism wherever you go. I mean, if you guys don't notice that about players, like now, like there's always gonna be an excuse to if you went here. Well, it's not the best move because of this, because of that. You know, this team is already winning. Oh, this league is already weak. Blah blah blah. It's a farmers league. Listen, going to any team outside of Spurs and winning a league, whether people respect it enough or not, it's still an upgrade. Winning the Bundesliga is still an upgrade, and it will be respected by some, not by most, but by some. Going to La Liga, same thing. If he goes to Madrid, people will make excuses. Yeah, Madrid always win the league. Oh, Barcelona always win the league. People will say that shit anyways. But still, going there and doing what you're supposed to do and winning will still get you respect. And even if people don't respect it, listen, don't respect me, but I'll have my gold medal on me. And then I won't care what you say anyways. You know, not you personally, but like whoever criticizes them. You know what I mean?
Let me just say one thing before you come in, George. Yeah, the only thing with that I would say is that Bayern Munich winning the league is a formality. Do you know what I'm saying? They've won it. What's it? 11 years on the bounce that they've won the title. Yeah. Real Madrid don't win it every single year. I know it's normally between them and Barcelona. Atletico Madrid have come in there a few times as well. So there is a little bit more competition. And when, like, if you look at Gareth Bale's legacy right now, no one looks at it and says, "Oh, he went to Spain and won the trophies in Spain." He still has that respect. I don't think he would get that same amount of respect if Gareth Bale went to Bayern Munich because we know that league is just them. Do you know what I mean? Real Madrid is a little bit more prestige. I would say it's a bigger club as well. So
yeah, no, I hear that. It is about champions. It's about doing something in the Champions League. It's winning. He'll win everything domestically in the 2 years that he's there. And I think what he can do is if he goes there and breaks certain goal scoring records, say he goes there and bangs in 40 league goals. I don't even know what their record is. If he goes in there and scores big and scores loads of goals, great. But he's only played like 32, 33 Champions League games in his career. He's got 21 goals in 33 Champions League games. It's a pretty good return. And I think that those are things that he could also improve on because he'll play a lot of Champions League games, you know, grow that number. He could easily go to somewhere like Bayern for the next 3 to 4 years and get himself to 50 Champions League goals. And if he wins it in that process as well, suddenly then he could be one of the highest goal-scoring Englishmen ever in the Champions League with the Champions League winners medal. And that's real legacy. And I get your point that he'll want that title of being the highest goal-scoring Premier League player. I don't personally believe Harry Kane cares more about that than winning major trophies. I think that is a good legacy to have, but to have that with no winners medals and especially no major medals, no league titles, no Champions League, no European Cups, it's good. And again, I'd love to have a striker that scores that amount of goals. But at the end of the day, you'll remember it. But whenever whenever you listen to legends speak, they talk about the days they won trophies, the finals they won, the league campaigns they won. I've never heard someone who's barring Cristiano Ronaldo would speak about individual awards, but he would speak about them in conjunction with winning trophies. I remember when Ryan Giggs broke the Man United appearance record. I remember when he broke all sorts of records. And every time he got interviewed and they said, "Oh, what do you make of breaking this record?" He went, "I'll celebrate it when I retire. Until now, I'm focusing on winning the league." And that, for me, is the mentality you should want your players to have. Focusing on individual records is a madness for me personally. Like I
No,
don't
I
think they
agree.
should do that.
And I do agree that he will 100% want to win a major trophy more. I just do think that that's always going to lay in the back of his mind that he's going to want to come back to the Premier League. And quite frankly, I just think it's because us as English fans and people that we consume the Premier League more than anything else, there is a strong bias. We can all sit here and say that we are biased to the Premier League, and not that many English fans watch other leagues. So when him as an Englishman, as he does retire, as he looks back at his career, he's going to want respect more from English fans than he is from fans outside who don't really watch the Premier League. So when we look back at his career and you say, oh, look, he won a trophy over in Germany, people will be like, but that's the German league. You played for Bayern.
I'll throw something at you, George, though. I will throw something at you, though. I get where you're coming from, but how many Englishmen have gone abroad and done well?
You're right about that. Not many. I think there's Lineker. It goes back a long way.
Lineker did well. Who else did well?
McManaman.
Kevin Keegan. If we do Premier League era, McManaman did well. Who, like, you could argue Jude Bellingham, but he's young. He hasn't kind of won anything yet. But like, how many Englishmen have gone abroad and done some? There's not a lot. So I think there is one element there of, for me, I've been advocating for years, and a lot of kids are now doing it. My children are good enough to be professional footballers. I'd rather them go to an academy in Germany or Spain than come through the English system. Something about the football there I love. I think there is a legacy to be born there. If he goes to Germany and kills it, I don't know how many English players have done that. The last guy I can remember, Englishman, that went to Germany and killed it and won things was probably Kevin Keegan. And he won a Ballon d'Or for doing it. Like, and I know the German league was a little different back then, but I do sort of think someone who says Michael Owen. No, Michael Owen didn't do well abroad. He just didn't. And that's the thing. There were very few English players. David Beckham, you could probably put into that category, did well. Gareth Bale's not English, but you could throw him in. He's a British player that's gone and done it. There's not very many that have. So I do think there is that element of legacy there as well. But it's going to be an intriguing one to see where he ends up and where he goes. There's a super chat here.